Well, this is not the video I thought I'd be making. The reason I look like this is because I feel like this. Ever since I left Jakarta, I've been feeling sick, and it's only been getting worse and worse, to the point where I have a fever, my entire body just hurts, runny nose, sore throat, major headache. And at first, when it was just a sore throat, I thought, oh, maybe just, air conditioning, whatever. But the fever has been going on for over 24 hours. So I checked an app that I have from the Dutch government, and I clicked on fever, and it said if you're in a tropical destination and you've had a fever for more than 24 hours, you need to do a blood test, which was for malaria and dengue fever. So after after a big mental breakdown, I eventually made it to the hospital here in Semarang. Now, because I felt horrible, I had checked out of my hostel and I've now checked into a hotel, which just feels so much better when you're sick. Plus, the hostel was not the vibe. It was a very strange place. I did have one more night there, but I said I checked out early and then I checked in here, which this place is costing me 37 euros for 2 nights, which is not too bad. The other place was only 3 euros a night, which is cheaper, but when you're sick, it just feels so much better to be in a room by yourself. Anyways, I left to go to the hospital. I had no idea how it works, so I just went to the information desk. There was nobody. Then there was this other kind of desk and people were waiting, and they had like this number on a card. So I used Google Translate, like the photo function, to translate which options I had, and I came to the conclusion that the best option for me was to register as a new patient, which I am not, but I just wanted someone to talk to because there were no other staff members there. Now, the man behind the counter didn't speak English, so he called a woman who supposedly spoke English but didn't. So it was a lot of Google Translate, which is fine, but she said that I had to go to the emergency room, which is where she took me. And then I went into a small room with 2 lovely ladies who did a test for my heartbeat, oxygen levels, and blood pressure. And then afterwards I was brought to like the actual emergency room. They laid me down on a gurney and everything. And a lovely doctor who did speak English came to talk to me and started asking me a lot of questions. So I told him what the matter was and that I wanted to get tested for dengue fever and malaria. And he said, okay, we'll just do a full blood panel, which I at the time assumed that meant also the 2 things that I wanted, but we'll come to that. So the nurse came back, she took my blood, and then afterwards they brought me to a different room, which I've been calling the paying room, because you're legit just sitting there waiting to go up to the register and pay your bill, which honestly wasn't that bad because I paid a little over 800,000 Indonesian rupiah, which is about 50 euros. And that got me a visit to the emergency room, a doctor, a blood test, and medication. Now, once I paid, I could go and get my medication, which turns out to be paracetamol and some vitamins, but I don't know if they're here somewhere. Wait, this, I don't know if you can see, is the size of the vitamins. Like, in what world am I supposed to swallow that? That's not happening. But and I got the paracetamols, but I'd rather just use the ones that I brought from home, just to be sure. So after that I was sent back home, I guess, to the hostel, and they said they would WhatsApp my results, which I found very strange because in the Netherlands, everything's very secure, privacy, and here they just send you the results through WhatsApp. But yeah, I went and got some McDonald's because comfort food, and I felt very sad for myself. Now, I just got the results back, which say negative for dengue fever, and all the other stuff I couldn't read, but I asked a few people and they all said like this means that, that means that. And so far it seems that it's maybe just a normal viral infection. I did later on get a message in English from the hospital, and they said that it is best to test again in 24 to 48 hours. I asked them if they tested for malaria, and he said no, we don't test for it because have you been to a forest area or I think Papua New Guinea? Maybe? I'm not entirely sure. But I haven't been. But I've asked them now if there's any place that they do test for malaria, because that was one of the reasons that I went. Dengue fever and malaria, and they only tested for one. So, but I'm very happy that it's not any of the others. I wanted to get tested for COVID, but they don't sell COVID tests anywhere here. I went to pharmacies, supermarkets, the hospital, nowhere. This is also part of travel, and I don't like it. But I was not planning on making this video, but my mom said very wisely that these are the things that I want to remember. That's true, although I don't think I'll forget this. But yeah, that's also things that happen during travel. I'm hoping it's just a normal flu. I'm gonna wait it out here. I've decided I was planning on going to Karimunjawa, which is a gorgeous island up north. However, I'm supposed to leave at 2 and then take the transfer at 3 o'clock this morning, and then take the first ferry. Well, there's only one ferry a day, but then take the ferry tomorrow morning. But I've decided, I've already texted the guy from the ferry saying that I'm not going to show up to collect my tickets, because I booked it through a third party, because everywhere online you read that it's very hard to get tickets and it's not very... I don't want to risk... Well, I don't want to travel right now. Like, I do not feel good enough to spend a long time on a transfer, wake up at 2 in the morning, be on a boat. Like, no. Although I was really looking forward to some like island time and beach time. And got some snacks. I'm not entirely sure what they are, but they look really, really good. So I figured to make this a little bit more interesting and sitting in bed for me a little bit more fun, I figured I would try